The call for help. In the far reaches of the galaxy, on a planet called Tikara, chaos reigned. The once peaceful alien colony was now a landscape of devastation. Mountains trembled, skies darkened with smoke, and panic-stricken inhabitants ran through the streets, their hopes dwindling by the minute. Tikara's emergency broadcast system crackled with a desperate message that traveled across the stars, reaching any ship that could pick up the signal. Urgent. This is Tikara colony. We are under attack. Natural disasters have combined with hostile alien forces. We need immediate help. Anyone who hears this, please respond. The signal reached Earth, where it was intercepted by a top-secret military unit known for their fearsome reputation. This team of elite soldiers, mercenaries, and strategists was feared throughout the galaxy for their incredible skill and bravery. They were called the Deadliest humans, and their stories of heroism and daring were the stuff of legends. At the heart of their headquarters, a high-tech command center hummed with activity. Monitors displayed the chaos on Tikara, and officers in uniform moved with purpose. The leader of the team, Colonel Sarah Mitchell, stood in front of a large screen that showed the alien colony's distress signal. Her face was a mask of determination. "Team, we've received a distress signal from Tikara," Colonel Mitchell announced to her assembled team. "The colony is facing both natural disasters and hostile attacks. We need to decide whether to respond." A murmur of agreement went through the room. The Deadliest humans were known for their sense of duty and their love for a good challenge. Each member of the team had a specific role. James, the combat specialist; Delina, the tech genius; Marcus, the strategist; and Lily, the medic. They had all faced their share of dangerous missions, and they were ready for this one. Delina, the tech expert, stepped forward. "We've analyzed the distress signal. The situation is dire. They need help fast, and it looks like they're running out of time." James, the combat specialist, cracked his knuckles and grinned. "Sounds like a perfect challenge. We've handled worse before." Marcus, the strategist, nodded thoughtfully. "We need to plan our approach carefully. We don't know exactly what we'll face when we get there." Lily, the medic, looked concerned but resolute. "We need to be prepared for anything. If we're going in, we have to make sure we can handle both the injuries and the threats." Colonel Mitchell took a deep breath, weighing the gravity of the situation. She knew the risks, but she also knew the importance of their mission. "All right, team. We're going to help Tikara. We'll deploy within the hour. Prepare for a high-risk operation." The team moved quickly. They gathered their gear, checked their weapons, and made final preparations. Each member knew their responsibilities and was focused on the task at hand. The urgency of the mission drove them, and they were determined to succeed. As the team boarded their sleek, advanced spacecraft, they shared a moment of camaraderie. They had faced countless challenges together, and this mission would be no different. The ship's engines roared to life, and the vessel shot through the void of space towards Tikara. Hours later, the spacecraft arrived at the edge of Tikara's atmosphere. The view was grim. The planet was a swirl of dark clouds, lightning flashes, and smoke. The once beautiful landscape was now marred by destruction. The colony's buildings lay in ruins, and the alien inhabitants struggled to survive amid the chaos. Colonel Mitchell activated the ship's comms system. "This is Colonel Mitchell of the Deadliest humans. We're here to help. Please provide us with your exact location and any immediate needs." A shaky voice crackled over the comms. "Colonel Mitchell, thank you for responding. We're at the Central Command Hub. The situation is critical. We're facing severe storms, earthquakes, and attacks from hostile alien forces. We need assistance with both evacuation and defense." Colonel Mitchell looked at her team. "All right, we need to split up. James, you and Elena will handle the defense and fortify the command hub. Marcus and Lily, you'll coordinate the evacuation and medical assistance." The team sprang into action. James and Elena landed near the command hub and immediately set up defensive positions. James, with his impressive arsenal of weapons, took position on a rooftop, providing cover for anyone approaching. The Lena worked her tech magic, setting up barriers and communication systems to fend off the attackers. Marcus and Lily made their way through the devastated streets, helping the aliens who were struggling to evacuate. Marcus organized the evacuation process, ensuring everyone was moving efficiently and safely. Lily tended to the injured, providing medical aid and comfort to those in need. Despite the chaos, the team's efforts began to make a difference. The defensive barriers held, and the evacuation proceeded with fewer interruptions. The humans' skill and bravery were evident as they faced the dangers head-on. As the sun set on Tikera, the team continued their work, driven by their commitment to saving lives. They knew the battle was far from over, but they were determined to make a difference. The call for help had been answered, and the deadliest humans were proving why they were so feared and respected across the galaxy. The night was filled with the sounds of storms and distant battles, but amid the turmoil, a sense of hope began to emerge. The deadliest humans had arrived, and with their arrival came the promise of a fight back against the darkness. Preparing for the mission. As the spacecraft touched down on the surface of Tikera, the urgency of the situation became even clearer. The alien colony was a battlefield of chaos and destruction. The deadliest humans had arrived, but there was no time to waste. The team knew they had to prepare for the mission ahead if they were to make a difference. Colonel Sarah Mitchell and her team stepped out of their spacecraft and onto the scared planet. The air was thick with smoke and the distant rumble of thunder. The skies were dark and turbulent, reflecting the dire situation on the ground. The alien Central Command Hub, their primary target, was not far from their landing site. The team quickly made their way to a makeshift command post set up near the landing area. Inside the command post, the atmosphere was tense. Alien technicians and survivors bustled around, trying to manage the chaos. Colonel Mitchell and her team were met by the colony's leader, a tall, worried alien named Xerox. He greeted them with a mixture of hope and desperation. "Colonel Mitchell, thank you for coming. We're grateful for any help you can provide. The situation is critical," Xerox said, his voice trembling. "Understood," Colonel Mitchell replied. "We need to assess the situation and get ready to act. My team will handle the defense and evacuation." Xerox nodded and led them to a large map of the colony displayed on a holoscreen. "Here's where the most severe damage is. We have natural disasters causing structural failures, and enemy forces are attacking our defenses. We're struggling to hold them off." The team gathered around the map, studying the areas marked in red. They quickly realized that their task was enormous. The colony was under siege from both environmental threats and hostile forces. To succeed, they would need to act quickly and efficiently. "All right, team, here's the plan," Colonel Mitchell said. "James and Elena will handle the defense of the command hub. Marcus and Lily, you'll focus on evacuating civilians and providing medical aid." James, the combat specialist, checked his weapons with precision. His arsenal included rifles, grenades, and a variety of other high-tech gear. He was known for his sharp reflexes and combat skills. Next to him, Elena, the tech expert, set up her equipment. She was responsible for the technical aspects of the mission, including setting up defensive barriers and communications. Elena was busy configuring a series of energy shields and automated turrets around the command hub. She worked swiftly, her fingers moving over the control panel as she activated and tested each system. James surveyed the area, making sure the perimeter was secure and ready for any incoming threats. Meanwhile, Marcus and Lily prepared for their part of the mission. Marcus, the strategist, was organizing the evacuation process. He had already mapped out the safest routes for civilians to escape the disaster zones. He used his experience to coordinate the logistics and ensure that everyone was moving in an orderly fashion. Lily, the medic, gathered medical supplies and equipment. She set up a temporary field hospital in a nearby building that was still standing. Her focus was on providing immediate care to the injured and ensuring that they received the help they needed. She knew that the conditions would be harsh, but she was ready for the challenge. As the team worked, the first signs of trouble began to appear. The storm clouds above grew darker, and the ground beneath them trembled with increasing intensity. The natural disasters were intensifying, and the enemy forces were becoming more aggressive. Colonel Mitchell knew that time was running out. She approached her team with a final set of instructions. We need to be ready for anything. The storms are getting worse, and the enemy will not wait for us to finish preparing. Stay alert and keep communication lines open. We're counting on each other. The team nodded, their expressions serious but determined. They knew the stakes were high, and they were prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they completed their preparations, the team took a moment to reflect on the mission. Each member knew the importance of their role and the risks involved. They were not just fighting for the alien colony, but for the lives of countless individuals who depended on them. The first wave of the enemy assault began just as the team finished setting up their defenses. James and Alina were immediately in action. James manned the defensive positions, engaging the enemy forces with precision and skill. Alina monitored the energy shields and automated turrets, making quick adjustments as needed to keep the defenses strong. Marcus and Lily worked tirelessly to evacuate civilians and provide medical care. Marcus directed people to safety, ensuring that the evacuation routes were clear and efficient. Lily tended to the injured, her calm demeanor a reassuring presence amidst the chaos. Despite the intensity of the situation, the team's preparation paid off. The defenses held, and the evacuation continued with minimal disruption. The deadliest humans had proven their readiness and resolve, showing why they were so respected and feared across the galaxy. As the first night on Tikera began, the team settled into their positions. The storms raged on, and the enemy attacks continued, but the humans were ready. They had prepared thoroughly and were determined to make a difference. Colonel Mitchell looked out over the battlefield, her mind focused on the task ahead. The preparations were complete, and now it was time to fight for the survival of the alien colony. The deadliest humans were ready for whatever lay ahead, and they were determined to see their mission through to the end. Arrival and initial impressions. The deadliest human spacecraft cut through Tikera's turbulent atmosphere, approaching the heart of the alien colony. The sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and alarming. What was once a thriving, advanced settlement was now a scene of utter devastation. Buildings were shattered, streets were flooded, and the sky was filled with dark, angry clouds, occasionally illuminated by streaks of lightning. Colonel Sarah Mitchell led her team as they disembarked from their spacecraft. The ground beneath them was uneven, scarred by recent earthquakes and violent tremors. The air was thick with dust and the acrid smell of burning debris. As they stepped onto the surface, the full scale of the disaster became apparent. The team's initial destination was the Central Command Hub, a large reinforced structure that had been holding out against the chaos. The building, though battered, still stood tall. It was the focal point of the colony's defense and the key to their efforts to stabilize the situation. Vizarak, the alien leader who had contacted them, met them at the entrance of the command hub. His appearance was marked by a mix of relief and apprehension. "Colonel Mitchell, thank you for arriving so quickly. We're struggling to hold our position." Colonel Mitchell gave a reassuring nod. "We're here to help. Let's assess the situation and see how we can assist." As they entered the command hub, the interior was a stark contrast to the devastation outside. It was bustling with activity, with alien technicians and officers working frantically. Holoscreens displayed real-time data on the ongoing disasters and enemy movements. The command hub had become a hub of both hope and desperation. Alina, the tech expert, immediately began analyzing the data. She connected her equipment to the colony's systems to get a clearer picture of the ongoing problems. "The situation is worse than we thought," she said, her voice tense. "We're dealing with severe infrastructure damage and a high volume of enemy attacks." James, the combat specialist, surveyed the command hub's defenses. His eyes moved over the barricades and fortifications that had been hastily erected. These defenses are holding, but we need to reinforce them. I'll set up additional turrets and check the perimeter. Marcus, the strategist, took out his maps and began planning the next steps. We need to organize a plan for both evacuation and defense. The enemy is using the chaos to their advantage, and we need to make sure we don't lose control. Lily, the medic, immediately went to work setting up a triage area in the command hub. She arranged medical supplies and began treating wounded aliens who were brought in. Her calm and steady presence was a comfort to those in pain. "We need to be ready for more casualties," she said. "I'll set up additional stations if needed." Outside, the storm raged on. Lightning illuminated the sky, revealing the full extent of the damage to the colony. The alien structures were battered, and many of the colony's power sources had been disrupted. The hostile forces that had attacked the colony were taking advantage of the natural disasters to launch coordinated strikes. Colonel Mitchell looked out over the scene, her mind racing. The devastation was greater than they had anticipated, but they were determined to make a difference. "We need to stabilize the situation as quickly as possible," she said. "Let's get to work." The team moved into action. James and Elena focused on strengthening the defenses around the command hub. They worked together seamlessly, with James handling the physical reinforcement of barriers and Elena fine-tuning the tech systems to boost their effectiveness. Their combined efforts created a more robust defense against the enemy attacks. Marcus and Lily worked tirelessly to support the evacuation efforts. Marcus coordinated with the alien officials to ensure that evacuation routes were secure and that civilians were moved to safer areas. Lily continued to provide medical care, treating injuries, and offering support to those in distress. Her work was crucial in maintaining the morale of the survivors. Despite the team's best efforts, the challenges were immense. The natural disasters continued to wreak havoc, and the enemy forces showed no signs of letting up. The colony's situation was a constant battle between survival and collapse. As night fell, the team's exhaustion was evident, but so was their determination. They had made significant progress in stabilizing the command hub and organizing the evacuation, but there was still much work to be done. Colonel Mitchell knew that their success depended on their ability to adapt and overcome the ongoing challenges. The initial impressions of the mission were clear. The colony was in grave danger, and their help was crucial. The deadliest humans had faced many challenges before, but this mission was proving to be one of their most difficult yet. They were fighting against time and nature, as well as hostile forces, and their efforts were a testament to their skill and bravery. Colonel Mitchell gathered her team for a brief moment of rest. They were tired but resolute. "We've made a good start," she said, "but we need to keep pushing forward. The colony depends on us, and we're not going to let them down." With renewed determination, the team returned to their tasks. They were driven by their commitment to the mission and their desire to help those in need. The battle for Tikera was far from over, but the deadliest humans were ready to face whatever came next. Fighting the enemy. The storm continued to rage over Tikera as the deadliest humans prepared for the next phase of their mission. The situation outside the command hub was increasingly dire. The natural disasters, earthquakes, torrential rains, and violent winds, combined with relentless attacks from hostile forces. The once orderly streets were now chaotic battlegrounds, with debris scattered everywhere and alien structures in ruins. Colonel Sarah Mitchell stood by the command hub's main entrance, her gaze fixed on the turmoil beyond. The flashes of lightning illuminated the alien attackers, who were taking full advantage of the storm to launch coordinated strikes. The enemy forces seemed relentless, their attacks growing more intense as the day wore on. "All right, team, it's time to push back," Colonel Mitchell said, her voice resolute. "We need to take the fight to them and reclaim control of the area." James, the combat specialist, was already gearing up. His weapon of choice was a high-powered rifle equipped with advanced targeting systems. He moved with purpose, checking his ammunition and preparing for the upcoming battle. Elena, the tech expert, was busy adjusting the defensive systems. She made sure the energy shields were functioning at full capacity and that the automated turrets were properly calibrated. As James and Elena prepared, Marcus, the strategist, studied the latest reports on enemy movements. He was coordinating with the alien defenders to create a tactical plan. The enemy is trying to breach our defenses from multiple directions. We need to anticipate their moves and counterattack effectively. Lily, the medic, continued to provide care for the injured inside the command hub, but she was also ready to move if needed. Her medical supplies were organized, and she had set up a makeshift treatment area to handle any casualties that might come in during the battle. The first sign of trouble came when the enemy forces launched a major offensive against the command hub. Explosions shook the ground as the attackers fired heavy weapons, trying to breach the perimeter. James took his position on the rooftop, his rifle steady as he fired at the advancing enemy troops. His shots were precise, each one finding its mark and driving the attackers back. Elena worked furiously to maintain the integrity of the defensive barriers. The energy shields were holding, but they were being taxed to their limits. She monitored the readouts on her screens, making quick adjustments to ensure the shields remained effective. Automated turrets whirred and fired, their targeting systems zeroing in on any enemy that came too close. Inside the command hub, Marcus coordinated with the alien defenders, directing their efforts to counter the attack. He used his strategic mind to identify weak points in the enemy's assault and deployed reinforcements where they were needed most. "We need to focus on the eastern breach," he shouted. "That's where they're coming in strongest." Lily kept a close eye on the incoming casualties. Despite the chaos, she managed to provide immediate medical care, stabilizing the injured and offering comfort to those in pain. Her calm presence was a beacon of hope amid the turmoil. "Stay with me," she urged one of her patients. "We're going to get through this." As the battle continued, the deadliest humans faced their toughest challenge yet. The enemy forces were relentless, and the natural disasters showed no signs of easing. The combination of environmental hazards and hostile attacks made every moment a struggle for survival. Colonel Mitchell moved through the chaos, overseeing the operation and ensuring that her team was holding their positions. She saw James taking down enemies with skill and precision, Elena working tirelessly to keep the defenses up, Marcus coordinating the defense with tactical brilliance, and Lily providing crucial medical care. Each member of her team was performing admirably, but the enemy was proving to be a formidable foe. Suddenly, a new threat emerged. A group of heavily armed enemy soldiers attempted a flanking maneuver, aiming to breach the command hub from an unexpected direction. James noticed the movement through his scope and alerted the team. "We've got enemy forces coming in from the northwest. They're trying to flank us." Elena quickly adjusted the defensive systems to cover the new threat. The automated turrets shifted their focus, and additional energy shields were deployed to reinforce the vulnerable area. James fired from his position, targeting the new enemy soldiers and preventing them from getting too close. Marcus immediately began redirecting the alien defenders to address the new threat. He organized a counterattack, positioning soldiers to repel the enemy forces and secure the northwest flank. "Hold the line," he commanded. "We need to push them back before they can breach our defenses." Lily, despite the chaos, continued to tend to the wounded. She kept her focus sharp, ready to assist anyone who came in with injuries. Her dedication was unwavering, and she played a crucial role in keeping the command hub's personnel in fighting shape. The battle raged on through the night, the storm showing no signs of letting up. The deadliest humans fought bravely, their efforts a testament to their skill and determination. Despite the odds, they managed to hold their ground and push back the enemy forces. As dawn approached, the intensity of the battle began to wane. The enemy forces, having faced fierce resistance, began to retreat. The storm continued to lash out, but the immediate threat to the command hub had been quelled. The deadliest humans had managed to defend their position and maintain control. Colonel Mitchell looked out over the battlefield, surveying the aftermath of the fight. The command hub had been battered, but it stood strong. Her team had faced incredible challenges and had emerged victorious. They had fought valiantly against both natural disasters and hostile forces, proving once again why they were considered the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. Exhausted but victorious, the team regrouped. They knew that the battle was far from over, but they had taken a crucial step in stabilizing the situation. The deadliest humans were ready to continue their mission and ensure that Tikera would not fall to the darkness. Turning the tide. As dawn broke over Tikera, the storm continued to rage, but there was a glimmer of hope. The intense battle from the previous night had left the command hub battered but intact. The deadliest humans had held their ground, but the situation remained critical. The key to turning the tide would be a coordinated effort to push back the enemy and stabilize the colony. Colonel Sarah Mitchell gathered her team for a briefing. The command hub's interior was filled with the low hum of machinery and the soft glow of holoscreens displaying data and maps. The team's exhaustion was evident, but their resolve was unwavering. They knew that the next phase of their mission would be crucial in determining the outcome. "All right, team," Colonel Mitchell began, her voice steady. "We've made it through the worst of the battle, but the enemy is still out there. We need to take decisive action to push them back and regain control of the colony." James, the combat specialist, stood ready with his weapon. He had been monitoring enemy movements and was prepared for any new threats. "We've pushed them back from the command hub, but they're still out there. We need to clear their strongholds and secure the area." Alina, the tech expert, was busy analyzing the data. She worked to pinpoint the locations of enemy strongholds and identify vulnerabilities in their defenses. "I've identified several key locations where the enemy is heavily entrenched. We need to focus on those areas to disrupt their operations." Marcus, the strategist, was deep in thought as he reviewed the tactical plans. "We need to launch a coordinated assault on these enemy strongholds. If we can disrupt their command structure and supply lines, we'll have a better chance of turning the tide." Lily, the medic, continued to provide care for the injured. She was also preparing to assist with any new casualties that might arise during the upcoming operations. Her presence was a vital source of comfort and support. The plan was set into motion. The team split into two main groups. One led by Colonel Mitchell would focus on a direct assault to capture key enemy positions, while the other group, led by Marcus, would carry out a diversionary attack to draw the enemy's attention and create openings for the main assault. As the two groups moved out, the sky remained dark and stormy, but the storm's intensity had slightly diminished. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation and determination. The first group, under Colonel Mitchell's command, advanced towards the enemy strongholds, their objective clear. James took the lead, using his combat skills to neutralize enemy forces and clear a path for the rest of the team. Alina provided real-time data on enemy positions and coordinated with James to ensure they were targeting the most critical areas. The clash of weapons and the roar of combat filled the air as they pushed forward. The second group, led by Marcus, launched their diversionary attack. They targeted enemy supply lines and communication hubs, creating confusion and drawing enemy forces away from their strongholds. The strategy worked as planned, with the enemy's attention diverted and their defenses weakened. The combined efforts of both groups began to show results. The enemy strongholds started to falter under the relentless pressure. Colonel Mitchell's group managed to capture key positions, cutting off the enemy's access to vital resources and reinforcements. The diversionary attack by Marcus's group further destabilized the enemy's operations, making it difficult for them to regroup and counterattack effectively. As the day progressed, the tide of the battle began to turn. The enemy forces, now disorganized and under intense pressure, struggled to hold their positions. The deadliest humans continued their push, driving the attackers back and reclaiming control of the colony. Colonel Mitchell remained focused, directing her team with precision and determination. "We're making progress, but we need to keep up the pressure. We can't afford to let them recover. James and Elena worked in tandem, with James securing newly captured positions and Elena providing critical support with her tech expertise. Their coordinated efforts were crucial in maintaining the momentum and pushing the enemy further back. Marcus continued to lead the diversionary attack, ensuring that the enemy's attention remained divided. His tactical decisions were paying off, and the enemy forces were increasingly unable to respond effectively to the combined assaults. Lily, though still stationed at the command hub, remained on high alert. She prepared for the influx of injured and continued to provide medical support, ensuring that her team and the alien survivors were well cared for. As the sun began to set, the enemy forces, now thoroughly beaten and disorganized, began to retreat. The command hub and surrounding areas had been secured, and the immediate threat had been neutralized. The battle for Tikera was not yet over, but the deadliest humans had made significant strides in turning the tide. Colonel Mitchell gathered her team once more, their faces showing signs of fatigue but also of victory. We've achieved a major breakthrough today. The enemy is on the run, and we've regained control of key areas. But we need to stay vigilant and ensure that we consolidate our gains. The team nodded in agreement, their spirits lifted by the progress they had made. They knew that there was still work to be done, but their efforts had put them on a path to victory. As the night fell, the storm continued to howl, but the mood among the team was one of cautious optimism. They had faced overwhelming odds and had emerged victorious in a crucial battle. The deadliest humans had proven their worth once again, and the future of Tikera now seemed a bit brighter. Aftermath and recovery. The storm over Tikera began to subside as night gave way to a tentative dawn. The once violent winds had turned into a gentle breeze, and the rain had reduced to a light drizzle. The devastation left in the wake of the battle was stark, but the silence that followed was a welcome change from the chaos that had dominated the previous days. Colonel Sarah Mitchell and her team stood amidst the wreckage of the colony. The enemy forces had retreated, and the immediate threat had been neutralized. The command hub, though scared and battered, remained a symbol of their hard-fought victory. The scene before them was a mix of destruction and hope, a landscape that had been saved, but not without significant cost. The team began their work, focusing on the aftermath of the battle. The first priority was to assess the damage and begin the process of recovery. The once bustling colony was now a shadow of its former self, with buildings in ruins and infrastructure severely damaged. The air was still thick with the smell of smoke and burnt debris. Lily, the medic, was one of the first to start her work. She set up a temporary medical station near the command hub and began treating those who were injured during the battle. Her hands worked with practiced efficiency as she administered care to both alien survivors and her own team members. Despite the overwhelming number of casualties, Lily remained calm and focused. "We need to stabilize everyone first," she said, her voice steady. "Then we can start planning for longer-term care." James, the combat specialist, took to surveying the damage to the colony's defenses. He inspected the barricades, weapon systems, and energy shields that had been crucial during the battle. Many of the defensive systems were damaged, and it was clear that they would need repair or replacement. "We've got a lot of work ahead of us," James said, assessing the extent of the damage. "But we'll get it done." Elena, the tech expert, worked on restoring the command hub systems. She began by repairing the communication networks and data terminals that had been disrupted during the battle. The holoscreens flickered back to life as she worked, showing real-time data on the colony's status and the progress of recovery efforts. "I'm bringing the systems back online," Elena said. "We'll need to keep an eye on things as we continue to rebuild." Marcus, the strategist, coordinated with the alien officials to develop a recovery plan. He worked on organizing resources, rebuilding infrastructure, and ensuring that the colony's essential functions could be restored. "We need to prioritize the repair of critical systems and infrastructure," Marcus said. "We also need to plan for the long-term recovery and rebuilding process." Colonel Mitchell took stock of the situation, her mind focused on both the immediate needs and the long-term recovery. She met with Zarak, the alien leader, to discuss the next steps. "We've made significant progress, but there's still a lot to do," Colonel Mitchell said. "We'll need your help in coordinating with the colony's leadership and organizing the recovery efforts." Zarak, though visibly exhausted, was grateful for the support. "Your team has been invaluable," he said. "We're deeply in your debt. We'll work together to rebuild and recover from this catastrophe." As the days passed, the recovery efforts began to take shape. The colony's residents, guided by the deadliest humans, worked tirelessly to clear debris, repair damaged structures, and restore essential services. The collaboration between the alien survivors and the human team was a testament to their shared determination and resilience. Lily continued her medical work, now focusing on rehabilitating those who had been injured. She organized support groups for survivors and provided psychological counseling to help them cope with the trauma of the recent events. "Recovery is not just physical," she said. "It's emotional as well. We need to support each other through this." James and Elena worked together to repair and upgrade the colony's defenses. They replaced damaged equipment, reinforced weak points, and ensured that the defensive systems were ready for any future threats. Their work was crucial in restoring the colony's security and preparing it for the future. Marcus, in his role as strategist, helped organize the recovery efforts. He worked with alien leaders to allocate resources, coordinate rebuilding projects, and establish new plans for long-term stability. His efforts ensured that the recovery process was efficient and effective. Colonel Mitchell oversaw the entire operation, ensuring that every aspect of the recovery was on track. She continued to support her team and the colony's residents, providing guidance and leadership during this challenging time. Her presence was a source of strength and reassurance for everyone involved. As the weeks went by, the signs of recovery became more apparent. The colony, though still scared, began to show signs of renewal. Buildings were repaired, infrastructure was restored, and the once devastated streets were gradually returning to normalcy. The storm had left its mark, but the determination and resilience of the colony's residents and their human allies had paved the way for a brighter future. Colonel Mitchell and her team reflected on their accomplishments with a sense of pride. They had faced incredible challenges and had come through with strength and determination. The battle for Tikera was a testament to their skills and bravery, and their efforts had made a lasting impact on the colony. As they prepared to leave Tikera, the team gathered for a final moment of reflection. The sky above was clear, and the storm's fury had given way to a calm and hopeful dawn. The deadliest humans had fulfilled their mission and had helped turn the tide in favor of the colony. Their work had been challenging, but it had also been rewarding. Colonel Mitchell addressed her team, her voice filled with gratitude. "We've achieved a lot together. The recovery is just beginning, but we've made a significant difference. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and I'm grateful for your dedication and hard work." The team shared a moment of camaraderie, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they had made a positive impact. As they prepared to return to their own ship and continue their journey, they knew that their efforts had helped ensure a better future for the people of Tikera. The storm had passed, and the dawn of a new day had begun. Return and legacy. The journey back to the human ship was a quiet one, marked by a sense of accomplishment and relief. The crew of the ship, though weary from their recent battle, carried with them the satisfaction of a mission well executed. The stars outside the viewport sparkled with an almost celebratory brilliance, as if the universe itself was acknowledging their success. Colonel Sarah Mitchell sat in her quarters, reviewing the mission reports. The documents were filled with details of their actions on Tikera, the recovery efforts, and the impact they had made. She reflected on the journey, the challenges they had faced, and the incredible teamwork that had brought them through. James, Elena, Marcus, and Lily gathered in the ship's common area. The mood was one of camaraderie and shared pride. The team members had bonded over their experiences, and the respect they held for each other was evident. James broke the silence. It's good to be heading home, but I can't stop thinking about everything we've accomplished. The people of Tikera are on the road to recovery, thanks to us." Alina nodded in agreement. "And our work there has set a new standard for how we handle such situations. We've proven that with the right approach, even the most devastated places can be rebuilt." Marcus, ever the strategist, added, "The strategies we used are going to be studied and adapted for future missions. Our work on Tikera has set a precedent for how we approach complex recovery efforts." Lily, always focused on the human side of their work, said, "I think what stands out the most is the way we connected with the people of Tikera. We didn't just help them recover physically, we supported them emotionally as well. That's something that goes beyond tactics and strategy." The ship's comm system crackled to life, and Colonel Mitchell's voice came over the intercom. "Attention crew, we'll be approaching the spaceport in approximately 2 hours. Prepare for docking procedures and a debriefing session upon arrival." The crew gathered their things and prepared for their return. As they approached the spaceport, the familiar sight of Earth's orbit came into view. It was a comforting reminder of home and the world they had left behind for this mission. Upon docking, the crew was met with a warm reception. Their success on Tikera had not gone unnoticed, and they were greeted by their superiors and fellow crew members with cheers and congratulations. The atmosphere was one of celebration and gratitude. Colonel Mitchell and her team were escorted to a debriefing room where they were met by high-ranking officers and key figures from the Federation. The room was filled with a mix of curiosity and admiration as the team shared their experiences and the details of their mission. The debriefing session was thorough, with each team member providing insights into their roles and the challenges they faced. The officers were impressed by the detailed reports and the strategic approach taken to achieve their objectives. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and the team's efforts were praised for their effectiveness and impact. After the debriefing, the team was honored in a formal ceremony. Colonel Mitchell and her team were awarded medals and commendations for their bravery and dedication. The ceremony was a fitting tribute to their hard work and the sacrifices they had made. In the days that followed, the legacy of their mission on Tikera became apparent. The Federation's approach to recovery and disaster response began to incorporate the strategies and techniques developed during their mission. Training programs were updated, and new protocols were established to ensure that future missions could benefit from their experiences. The impact of their work extended beyond the immediate recovery. The people of Tikera, now recovering and rebuilding, expressed their gratitude through messages and tokens of appreciation. The stories of the deadliest humans and their heroic actions became a source of inspiration for many. Colonel Mitchell and her team found themselves in high demand for interviews and public appearances. They shared their story with the broader community, highlighting the importance of teamwork, resilience, and compassion in the face of adversity. Despite the newfound fame, the team remained grounded. They continued to work on new missions, always with the same dedication and commitment that had defined their work on Tikera. Their experiences had deepened their bond and strengthened their resolve. As the months passed, the memory of their mission on Tikera became a source of pride and reflection. The challenges they had faced, the victories they had achieved, and the legacy they had created were all reminders of what could be accomplished when people came together with a common purpose. Colonel Mitchell often looked back on the mission with a sense of fulfillment. The journey had been difficult, but it had also been rewarding. The deadliest humans had proven their mettle and had left an indelible mark on the galaxy. The stars outside the viewport were as bright as ever, and the journey of the deadliest humans continued. Their story was one of courage, resilience, and hope, a testament to the power of determination and the strength of the human spirit.